May it please the court, Mr. Whitney,
No.
Mr. Weaver, and Mr. McNamara. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming back to complete your duty. Thank you for your service in the guilt phase of this trial. This phase concerns itself with the punishment of the defendant. It will be your verdict as to what punishment is to be imposed in this case. The standard of proof, beyond a reasonable doubt, is the same in this phase as it was in the guilt phase. It's not higher, it's not lower, it's the same. In this phase, you'll engage in a weighing process to weigh whether or not the aggravating circumstances outweigh the mitigating factors. If the state proves beyond a reasonable doubt that the aggravating circumstances outweigh the mitigating factors, then your verdict must be in favor of the death penalty. We will be admitting into evidence some of the exhibits and testimony you heard in the guilt phase, and then we'll sit down. You have already heard all of the evidence that is relevant to the aggravating circumstances in the guilt phase of this trial. This is the evidence that you will weigh in this phase of the trial. There is no need to present it all over again. We know it all too well. It's not an easy thing to ask for the imposition of the death penalty. It shouldn't be an easy thing for you to decide. That's why the law has all of these requirements. We merged the aggravating murder counts as to Stacy and Elizabeth so that there's now one count for each victim. This only makes sense because each woman could only be killed by this defendant one time. You must not consider the aggravated murder count itself in this process. Only the specifications that you found him guilty of, beyond a reasonable doubt, form the aggravating circumstances in this phase of the trial. The aggravating circumstances remain the same as to Stacy and Elizabeth. Specification 1 to counts 1 and 7, that the offense as stated in count 1 was committed while the said Shawn M. Grate was attempting to commit or fleeing after committing or attempting to commit kidnapping, and the said Shawn M. Grate was the principal offender in the commission of the aggravated murder. And specification 2 as to count 7, so relating to Stacy, that the offense as stated in count 7 was committed while the said Shawn M. Grate was attempting to commit or fleeing immediately after committing or attempting to commit kidnapping and or rape and or aggravated robbery. And the said Shawn M. Grate was the principal offender in the commission of the aggravated murder. You will weigh the evidence of the aggravating circumstances against the mitigating factors. I'm sure at the conclusion of this case, if you do that in accordance with your oath and your best judgment, we will respect your verdict regardless of what it is. But the state believes the appropriate verdict in this case will be the death penalty as to each victim. Thank you in advance for your time and your consideration. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Tennell. Mr. Whitney?
Go ahead and open the statement, Judge.
Okay, thank you.